Hey,
Hey,
right? I know,
right?
right? You like my intro?
I do.
Well,
Got a
welcome
got
to
a
my
got a
show.
got a sass to it.
Of course, it has to. It's me. Welcome to my show from A to Zoe. This is your host, Zoe Robinson. And today I have a very, very, very special guest on, um, a good friend.
Absolutely.
Antone, go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
Oh, girl. Antone Amalbert. I am the owner of the aTonal Experience, which is, in a sense, a label slash production experience for artists. Pretty much a haven for them to be able to come create and stick true to what's in their heart without an entity telling them what they should sound like. While at the same time helping them create a platform for themselves so they can survive being an artist. Along with that, there's a myriad of other things that entails, but we'll get into that more. I'm assuming as this interview progresses.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Aside from the business that I am a musician, writer, producer, engineer. Um, right now, that's the hats that's most applicable to these conversations. But there's a number of things that I do,
Mm-hmm. And an artist
and an artist.
and an entertainer.
Yeah.
Because I've seen you on stage, sir, with the trombone.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We're gonna get into that too,
All
because
right.
okay. The instruments that you play, Prince Jr.
Whatever.
I'm telling you,
It got to sound right.
piano, uh,
It got to sound right.
right? You are an amazing music mogul. I I know you probably don't like that title, but
No,
your brain and the way that you think about music and production and putting people and sounds together, it makes magic. Absolute magic. And I am a huge fan of your music. So that's one of
thank
the reasons why I needed to highlight you on this interview. Okay, so let's talk about your brand. The atonal experience. What
so,
is the story behind the atonal experience?
so the term atonal means technically not to fit into any form.
Mm-hmm.
It's a non-conventional way to how we approach music. It's things out of the normal. Um, I feel like if there was one cookie cut way to break through as an artist or a producer, we would have done it already and everybody would be able to do it. And the fact of it is, there isn't. You have to create your sound. You have to create something that is in you, but you also have to understand what's there to help cultivate that sound so you don't sound like the other 200 billion people that's putting out stuff worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you set yourself apart? How do you convey your story? So, we have to find an unconventional way to do it. We have to think outside of the box. It's not about me telling an artist who they should sound like, it's about them finding their sound, hence the name, the atonal experience.
It is a whole experience working with you as well. So you have vocal coaches
I do,
in your pocket
including
that you
myself.
definitely have people going to. Uh, and every artist, every music artist needs a vocal coach,
Absolutely.
even rappers, because you have to have breath control while you're performing on stage. Can you tell me about the importance of having a vocal coach and making sure that you are keeping your body healthy during the music process of creating a song?
Absolutely. The importance of a coach essentially is to help you technically do it right. If you sing a song, you have to know the proper way to sing that song. You don't want to go out there and scream and blow out your voice.
Mm,
After a period of time, because you've been doing it improperly so long, you start to lose your voice or you create polyps on your larynx, which
Mhm.
cause problems down the road and you can't sing, right? So understanding that about your voice, which pretty much it's a muscle. If
Mhm.
if you don't stretch and you don't take care of it, it can tear. You can strain it. Um, you can do things to it to where it won't work properly. So that's the importance of having a coach.
Mhm.
I think once you get into the studio, a lot of artists need to understand that how you sing in the studio is not how you sing live. How you sing live is not how you sing in the studio, but there are caveats to understanding both and how you can benefit from both. How you write a song should be based on your breath control and your phrasing. And you learn that from a vocal coach when they teach you how to breathe through the phrases.
Mhm.
Right? So if I'm getting on stage and I'm having to move around and I got a lot of words in a verse, it's going to come across as choppy. And now you can't deliver it because you didn't have that in mind when you wanted to write this book for this song. Now you have all these words and oh, it's going to be fine. Okay, perform it. And you about to pass out after the first verse into the chorus.
Right. Yes. So y'all get your cardio in before you get on stage and make sure
Get your cardio in.
you work on your lung capacity as well, because that is extremely important for you to have breath control and say your phrases like you're supposed to. Anyway,
All of
yeah, because we have seen some not so healthy individuals try and get on stage and they don't they don't sound that good.
we're gonna pray their strength.
We will for sure. All right. Enough about that. All right. So your music is rooted in R&B and soul, right? So we hear that in the music that you produce, but you do work across different types of styles. So
I do.
who influenced you in music,
Mm.
and how does that sound transfer into some of your production?
So I've had quite a few influences. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I would honestly say my first would probably be my great grandmother. When she would go to church, she would take me with her, and they had a piano that she would let me go play. And I was a little kid, so anytime that I would be able to go spend time with her, she would sing and not fully understanding what I was doing. I just knew I had an affinity for music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my family saw it, so they put me in piano classes at 6 years old. A piano teacher, her name was Miss Neal, older lady, very stern, but she taught the old school way. You have to hold your hands a certain way and
Mm-hmm.
play a particular way, but the passion was always there. As I started to understand music, I love classical still to this day. I love alternative because it's different and it doesn't conform.
Mm-hmm.
Love jazz and the approach because they leave it all on stage. I love R&B because of the influence. I love gospel because of the chord progressions,
Mm.
um,
Mm.
and,
Mm-hmm.
and the conviction when people sing. Um, I like some of the stories in country, but I'm not a big country artist.
Mm-hmm.
There are some rock bands that I really, really like because I love people's response and understanding why people respond the way they do to certain songs.
Yeah.
Now I'm to a point where I don't really believe in genre. I just love music and I embrace all forms. I may not like all forms per se in regards to something that I play day in and day out,
Mm-hmm.
but I do respect them.
So now that Ryan has been playing the bass, he is listening to more music. And so that means now I am listening to more music, and I'm listening to it in a little bit of a different manner.
Mhm.
I love all genres of music. I'm an audiophile as well, so I listen for technical ability. in the singers and the bands. And I have to say, Tool is probably one of my favorite rock bands because the mathematics and the timing, especially of the drummer, holy cow, amazing. But we're talking about you and your ability. Okay, so let's talk about you being an artist because you sent me some music today a few hours before this interview, and I have been listening to all of it, sir. What in the fuck did you send me? It is so amazing. I heard your voice rapping, and then I heard Eric rapping, and I was like, I was cracking up. I was like, what? I said, he got Eric on this album rapping. I'm enamored by your artistry. And then you have a couple of sentences I'm going to read on this album. It says, "We are more than the sum of our placements. We are more than inaudible words mumbled over vague, unintentional music. This is the Renaissance." Your music definitely is intentional. I want to talk about Antone the artist. Can we talk about the math tones? And how did you guys get together?
Oh, so Mav Tones is actually a production company I used to have with Marcus Mav Tracks Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
Mav and I started Mav Tones back in February of 2012. And he was the one who actually introduced me to Eric Roberson.
Oh,
So,
wow.
but I introduced myself to Mav on Father's Day of 2010 at the Kessler Theater.
Mm-hmm.
And I was performing with a group called RSVP. It was a jazz band. And he came to the show. When the show was over, I saw him in the audience. He and I had never spoken, but I saw him online and I saw the DAW that he uses. And there's not a lot of people here that use Reason. And I approached him, talked to him about it, said, "Hey, I'm a big fan of your work. I'd love to sit down and talk with you and XYZ." And we exchanged contact information and
Mm-hmm.
we worked together ever since. So we had Mavtone for a while, and then he started MTI Solutions, which is more homegrown artist based,
Mm-hmm.
while I focused more on the production aspect and working with established artists. So we created two separate entities because we were doing two separate things, but we still keep in touch. But that's Mav Productions. That's where the name came from, Mav and Antone, Mav Tones. The albums you're referring to, I understand the importance of branding. So
Yes, you do.
when we started it, no one knew who Mav Tones was. So to establish the name, I put those projects out under our production name. I didn't use my name. And it was a compilation of projects. Fun fact, Volume 1, The Renaissance, was written and recorded in one day.
That's not surprising.
But it's a lot of people who can't say that.
Well, it's you though.
And I did it because an intern at a label, and I'm not going to say any names because
Mm-hmm.
it's not to,
It's not important.
told me I couldn't do something. They were trying to get me to produce a track for one of their up and coming R&B artists.
They actually challenged you?
And mind you, I hadn't had any projects out myself, but I did have placements with Eric and a couple of other artists that established themselves in the industry. So I said, cool, I don't mind doing that for her, but I would like to I would like to submit some tracks for this other artist that was a rapper on that label, who was very established, who they had connections with because the R&B artist was out of his camp. The little intern / wannabe A&R tells me, well, probably you should stick to, R&B and whatnot, because that's where you have your placements. And I said, the majority of what I produce is hip hop. I said, and if you know about these artists, people who like to sing over hip hop tracks, and people
Yes.
who want to rap over R&B tracks. So you're asking me for something that the hip hop artist would want. Meanwhile, the stuff that I'm good at is what you're asking me for this up and coming artist who is not established yet. I said, but don't worry about it. Cool. I called their boss and I said, your art, your little A&R, and I did use the adjective little,
Mm-hmm.
told me I couldn't do something. I said, so I'm gonna put this album out next month. This was 2016. This was it? It was this was May. We had that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
From June 1st to June 10th, I made 17 tracks. From June 10th to June 17th, I picked out 7 out of the 17. I put them in a particular order, and I called a handful of my friends. I said, next Saturday, which was the 23rd, I said, I need y'all to come over so we can record this project. I said, cool. You know, now we've done stuff. I've done production and stuff on their projects before. I know what they were capable of. It's just 7.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I had to. It was probably like 5 of us. We can knock this out easy. So I took my wife and the kids to the airport. They went to Disney World. By the time I got back to my house, which is a little after 10 a.m., 2 of my homeboys was already out front. From 10 a.m. to 2 a.m., we wrote and recorded that entire EP one day. I called it the Renaissance because in actual history, that period was from the 1400s to the 17th century,
Mm-hmm.
in which case it entails, it started in Italy, but mainly in Europe, where they revisited classical teachings and they challenged it to how we can better our lifestyle and the way we live.
Mm-hmm.
I liken that to historical hip hop when we first started to rap. That's why it has a very nostalgic hip hop feel.
Oh, it does. It has that old school vibe, but
Yeah,
it's over new production. It kind of
it
merges
is,
the
but it's
old with the new.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason I say it's not is because it was based on when hip hop first started, it was based on sampling.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that album is heavy sampling,
Mm-hmm.
but some jazz influences, while at the same time, people didn't do a lot of hooks when hip hop first started. There was a lot of scratching of hooks in there, hence the DJ and stuff that you hear.
Mm-hmm.
The first project, the second project, which was called the In Between,
The in
it
between,
was
yeah.
supposed to be just one, but it got good to us. So that project came out in July. The In Between came out that following September, which we did that in a week. Doesn't have any hooks. It was just us letting people know we're working on another project.
Mm-hmm.
Put out a project to let people know another project is coming out.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
So
And that was is still fantastic. I played it 3 times. I'm not even lying.
it was a fun project.
It sounds like y'all had fun. And
We,
the messaging in there, I was like, man, so many artists needs to hear this right now because y'all were just you guys are just on point with what you're saying. And I understand why you're saying it.
yeah,
And even though it was made back in what you said, 2016,
2016.
it definitely applies to what's going on in music, especially rap music today.
But
All right, go.
that's the thing. We got to create things that are timeless.
Mm-hmm.
So In
Mm-hmm.
Between paved way for the Age of Enlightenment, which came out the top of November when Tribe Called Quest dropped their album
In 2016.
in 2016. So in the span of what 5 months, we dropped 3 EPs.
Yes.
Boom, boom, boom.
Wow.
And then the Age of Enlightenment um, had a 90s feel. So now in the Age of Enlightenment, you have people like Sir Isaac Newton, who is challenging what we know to be true about the earth. No, it is not flat, it is round. And
Mm-hmm.
there's gravity. And we don't, so now they start challenging the government to do for the people what the people can't do for themselves. All of this is happening in the Age of Enlightenment. Now, if you go back into the early 90s, we start to take music back for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have more Black artists owning their own masters in a field that people didn't think was going to be successful. Now the hip hop culture has a hold on not just these United States, but the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
The entity is seeing, oh, there's a lot we can make off of that. But at the moment, you can't control it. And you have labels like No Limit, uh, Death Row, Cash Money, and they're making deals that are unheard of.
Oh, the 80-20 deal with Master P.
While they control everything, and you have
Everything. Mm-hmm.
dropping albums every Tuesday and putting out what they want to put out, and nobody's telling them what it should sound like.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have them understanding cross marketing. So now you start getting rappers doing songs with R&B artists.
R&B artists. Yeah.
You got ODB, Mariah Carey,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Rhymes, Janet Jackson. The list goes on.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, on Age of Enlightenment, now I start to introduce the R&B artists that I work with the rappers that I work with. And you have songs with Keith Young, Blythe Dennis,
Blythe. Oh my
Carl,
goodness.
Eric Roberson,
Eric. Yep.
along with the Rapture Show underscore, myself,
Mm-hmm.
Butler, Sir Rube, and you have, but we're creating these songs and these stories based on real life experiences while being able to share it in a way that is just enjoyable. And you still
Mm-hmm.
have the hip hop feel where it's a nice groove, but it's like I like the story.
Yeah.
Black Man in America was what was that? The song Eric did. I'm trying to. I want to think of the name that was on the Age of Enlightenment. Give me a second. It's gonna come to me, and I'm gonna figure it out.
Hold on, because I got the Age of Enlightenment right here.
Uh-huh. I'm gonna get to it before you
Missing you
Everything.
already?
All right. Track 2, everything.
Oh, everything.
And
Okay.
he was saying, and his
I
verse,
was like,
and his verse was simply about the things that Black men in the U.S. have to think about in the choices that they make, how we respond at work.
yeah.
Just going out, like he was having issues with his car, and so he wanted to go buy a new car, but he had to dictate what type of car he was going to buy with what raised his chances of getting pulled over by the police.
Yeah.
And the hook says a Black man has to think about everything,
Everything.
choices that we make.
Man, I was shocked when I heard Eric. I was like, is he rapping?
What a lot of people don't know is when we go on the road, Eric freestyles on the road.
I love it.
Eric can rap his face off.
I bet he can.
He can.
I bet he does often too. Yeah, y'all just be like freestyling over beats
all the time.
Oh my goodness, he's hilarious. By the way, I have seen some of his social media releases, his little postings. Yeah. I bet Eric is a comedian on the road.
He is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk about some more of your music in a little bit, but I want to talk about your lab, the experimental lab, too. Right, your studio.
This is where we make the magic happen. The 2 comes from, this isn't the first experimental lab that I worked in. When I was going to college, where I learned mixing and where I learned to really put things together, because I learned on out gear. And what I mean by out gear is actual compressors and the patch bays that you plug the cables in. This is the type of gear you would see in a studio. The type of gear when I started producing. The gentleman that helped me with that, his name is Steve Paxton. He also taught me engineering. And he taught me to do a lot with very little. But he challenged me to use my ear in its fullest capacity. So in my studio, I took the time to study not only speakers and mics, but understanding what works best for each artist. When the artists come to work with me, I encourage them, and I'm very adamant about this. We don't say the word "I can't" in this room. We say, "I haven't done that before," or I need help. But I have, we don't say I can't do it because no one knows what they're capable of until they're given the tools to do it.
Right.
And we teach in here and we allow everything to come out in this safe space.
Mm-hmm.
So if we screw up, we screw up. If we uh, learn something or we do something that we haven't done before, this is the space to do it. And then we hone that craft so it doesn't seem so foreign to us. So now
Yeah.
this is the place where you put tools under your belt, i.e., the experimental lab. We're experimenting here until we get it right.
You experiment with emotions. You
We don't,
experiment with.
I wouldn't say we experiment with emotions so much as it is we're transparent with it and we're honest
Mm-hmm.
emotions. And I tell my artists, I said, if you're in that corner, whatever song you're singing about, I need to believe you. I need to hear the conviction. If the song is emotional, you have to sell the emotion.
Yeah.
Song is about hurt, I need to hear the hurt in your voice. If the song is sensual, I need, from when people hear the song, they need to feel like you had candles lit and there was possibly some other things going on when you recorded that song.
Mm-hmm.
It's to sound the way that you want it to make people feel. So we record for feel in here, not for sound.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to talk about feelings because you just recorded an album called Back to the Basics that is an
Hmm.
accompaniment to a book by Boris Chestnut.
Shout out to Boris Chestnut.
Shout out to him because the book and the album are incredible. Now, let's talk about the feelings with this album, sir. Because you know I was going to do it. You knew I was going to go there.
I,
You created a fantasy album with some incredible voices like Just Ms. Brayla, Dana Harper.
mm,
Um, Tell me about the creative process with the emotional side of creating this album. Because I have this on repeat still. It's on my playlist.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
It is one, it's an honor for somebody to ask you to create a soundtrack to something that's so near and dear to them.
Mm-hmm.
Being a producer, it is my job to place my artists in a position where they can win. And what I mean by that is, I don't want to try and fit a square peg into a round hole.
Yeah.
If you have experience with something based on the conversations that we have and me taking the time out to get to know you, I want to put you in that position to where it'll place you where I can write about this and I don't have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to think about it is when you sound the best on the mic. So me understanding the talking points to each chapter helped me dictate who I would call and ask for that particular piece.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, it wasn't all R&B, it was some spoken word that was on there.
Yes.
Seeing as though
You
I,
have.
I deal with people who rap and who do spoken word,
Yeah.
some things you're not going to be able to fit into a verse and a chorus, which goes back to my earlier point of saying sometimes it requires more words. So I think songs to where you rap and or you do spoken word allow you to say everything that needs to be said.
Mm-hmm.
While there are other songs that don't require that, it's just about how the thing is said. Then we get into the very sensual songs of how something is sung and what's conveyed. Still lyrically, but you also hear the emotion in it. So
Oh.
so when you're talking about, a man's perspective on sex or pleasure
Mm-hmm.
somebody, or what does your sex energy look like? Or talking about what self-care means to you,
Mm-hmm.
or conveying how you want somebody to touch you emotionally and by way of your intelligence before they touch you physically.
Mm-hmm.
You can
He's
connect
talking about Kiss My Mind, y'all.
and is
Mm.
you can connect here and here.
Yes. You can get to there.
You can get there,
Absolutely.
but you
So
but you have to be invested, and you
you
yeah, and you got to learn the person to be able to have an intellectual conversation.
yes, yes. And this album conveys that in such a beautiful way. I really wish more people would hear Back to the Basics. I'm sure they will, because I will definitely be talking about Greg Boris Chestnut during the album introduction from
Okay.
this video. So I'm going to tag him in the post for sure
Absolutely.
when this interview comes out, because I need him to get more exposure for his book and this current album, because he's got another project coming out for women. Back to the Basics. So you all go check out Boris Chestnut. Go check out Back to the Basics, the book and the album. They are absolutely amazing. There's a lot of good information in there. It talks about ED. It talks about sex and drugs. It talks about prioritizing men's health. It talks about connection and relationships and how men can contribute to a positive sexual environment. So please go check it out. Thank you, Antone. I appreciate that. So now we're gonna switch sides here. We're gonna talk about the house that Pepper built,
Oh, okay.
because I also love that album as well. All right, so you're in the studio, right? And you're like, all right, I gotta make this project for Pepper Thomas. How did you
Well,
start the
I
creative
was I
process
was
for
in the
that?
I was in the studio with a couple of artists, and
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about Pepper and how much she's done for independent artists,
Oh yeah.
along with artists that are signed and are established, but also sharing her platform, which is on FM radio, which is also synced and it's online as well. So people
Mm-hmm.
all over the world check into her station. And she uses her platform to interview these people with a voice and the ones that don't have a voice. And for a lot of people, she was their first time having their songs played on FM radio.
Yeah.
Um, and Eric actually introduced me to her, and I was on tour with him. And this goes back to me understanding the importance of relationships in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
A big part of it, I would dare to say 80% of it is relationships.
Yeah.
Being in the right place at the right time and being willing to do what is needed to create something special.
Mm-hmm.
And then you cultivate those relationships and you keep going, as opposed to some people in the industry say, "Oh, I've worked with such and such before, but you can't pick up a phone and call them because you have no real relationship with them."
Right. You just name dropping.
You just name drop.
But Pepper and the Hot Pepper Show is
It was this.
really, she just cultivates a whole lot, and she finds just amazing musicians and artists and
Yeah.
puts them, showcases them on her show. And I have listened to her show often. I have added to my playlist because of her. You guys are getting spins on Tidal because of me, for sure.
We appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I love it.
Yeah.
But so let's talk about some of the people that you have, some of the artists
On that album?
on the album: Timothy Bloom, Carmen Rogers, Eric Roberson, okay, and Amber Navran.
Hmm.
Wow, Moonchild. Okay, so how did you get them to collaborate on this album?
Well, interestingly enough, I've known Pepper now for about 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I was on the road with her. I'm sorry, with Eric when he introduced me to her. We had a show in Austin, and I ended up doing her intro for her show. And she was always curious about who I was in the studio with, if I was doing something with Eric or if I was doing something with anybody else, and I would share with her, the stuff that I'm working on. She introduced me to a lot of the artists that are on that album. She introduced me to Blanche J. Um, who else did she introduce me to? So actually, Demo, who works with Eric, introduced me to Amber, but Amber had been on Pepper's show. And I didn't know that Amber's first radio interview was with Pepper.
Oh, wow.
But I did know Brayla's first interview was with Pepper. And one of the songs on that album is a duet with Brayla and Amber.
Braylon and Amber, and it's
I had,
amazing.
I had two people who had their first interview with Pepper on the same song.
Wow.
But I didn't know it until after the fact. Pepper told me.
Yeah.
But of course, we didn't tell Pepper about the album until we presented it to her for her birthday last year,
Hmm.
which her birthday is coming up. Actually, no, her birthday was yesterday.
Her birthday was yesterday.
It was yesterday,
Yeah. October 26th.
October 26th. So we presented it to her for her birthday. And me and the majority of the artists who didn't have a show, Eric had a show, Demo had a show,
Hmm.
Brayla was in New York, uh, Timothy Bloom and Amber were in California. I know Tim was recording. I think Amber had a show, and then Carmen was in Atlanta,
Hmm.
had a show as well. But for everybody else that can make, and then a couple of them actually called in while we were there. But all the other artists came with me to the studio to present it to her. She didn't know we were coming. She just knew I.
Um,
So we all came to love on her and present her with this album and this token of us saying we appreciate you and we
yeah.
appreciate the platform that you shared and still share to this day. So
Yes.
when I did Blythe's first EP, Pepper played it on her album and she interviewed Blythe, along with she was the first person to play Malik Onay's album, Confessions of a Pentecostal Girl, which I mixed on the radio. And
Hmm.
this is back when Malik felt like she didn't have a voice and she wasn't a large artist like that, but Pepper shared her platform. When Brayla and I did her first EP back in 2019, after it came out, we went down to Austin and Pepper interviewed her in the studio
Mm.
and played the album. Uh, Pepper also introduced me to Just Miz in April of 2020 via the
Man.
because everything was shut down for COVID.
Yeah.
So all of these people she has put into my life, and some of the artists I knew, but I shared with her, and she fell in love with. Blythe,
Mm.
Lawyer, Shaki, and a few other artists. She was like, I want to know what they have going on. LePage, I want to hear what they have and what's coming out, so forth and so on. So all of these people
Hmm.
she's got to meet that we've done something with or for her in some capacity. So they all, and when I say everybody on this album, nobody asked me for a thing. They just want to be a part of it. And we
The album is incredible.
put this album together for her.
One of my two, I have two like really, really of my favorite songs are with Brayla and Amber, of course, and then with Demo, Just Miz,
Miss
LePage. Yeah,
you
yeah.
and count on me.
Count on me. Yeah. I
And
just,
and the only instruction I had for everybody was, I want you to write about what Pepper means to you and what she represents in your life.
oh, well, that's why the songs are so fantastic.
Mhm.
Because Pepper is really a fantastic woman. She does so much. She stays busy. I don't know how she keeps up with everything that she does. And the radio show
Child, she does it.
for 30 years. She's been
And still doing it. Still
and
doing it.
still doing it and still loves it.
Yeah.
I I love that. And I'm gonna interview her as well.
As you should.
I got to give her a platform. Okay, so we talked about some projects that you specifically did. Now let's talk about some of the artists that you've been working with. I know we got to talk about the eclipse. I know we have to talk about Alex Blair's album because it was so heavily jazz influenced, and this project, the whole Eclipse album is just amazing. How did you manage to bring out the best in Alex? Because the, I I am ready to hear another project from her.
I'm gonna save the fun fact for after I tell you. So
Okay.
Alex asked me to do an R&B album with her after I had mixed a project she'd done with another producer.
Hmm.
and she contacted me. Ooh, I'm trying to think when that was. Was that the top of 21 or 22?
It was in 21 because the album came out in 22.
It was in 21, February of 21 to be exact.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she said, I want to do an R&B album. She said, I've done jazz albums before. She went to college for jazz vocal studies at UNT.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, the jazz influence is based on her background. But I know she sings R&B and she loves it and she covers it very well.
Mm-hmm.
How we sing R&B is not how we sing jazz. So it was a process of her learning that. And it took some time to work through this project, just a respect factor for the genre and the craft.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and me not putting too much on it. And it was some hard days. Of course, you have personal things that are going on. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we schedule things and she just wasn't in the capacity to get through it that day, as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to well, you need to come back. I offered up my couch and we just sat and talked through some things and I allowed her to release some things emotionally. But we used that and we cultivated that to create the things that she needed to cover and talk about on this project.
Yeah.
I said artists are just transparent, that without being too specific, they are sharing experiences of their life. And this is why, we fall in love with them because we have an insight into who you are as a person based on how you convey it. And I also understand that one or two people can't do an entire project, so it's also about calling in the right people um, to create the sound that she's going for. So she
Mm-hmm.
sat down and I pulled up a few examples and we talked through it. And I took very copious notes and I picked out 6 songs that I felt summed up the project.
Mm-hmm.
Sent an email out to 4 producers and um, everybody responded. I gave them a rate, as to not offend anybody because, pricing varies with independent artists. Everybody's budget isn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't trying to take advantage or insult anybody. I just
Mm-hmm.
convinced them, hey, here's what it is. I would be honored if you be a part, but if it's not where it needs to be for you, hey, I totally get it. And everybody was on board.
Yeah.
And you would think we were all in the studio together doing production, but everybody just understood the assignment when I set out the examples. And we
It sounds very cohesive. It sounded like everybody was in the studio recording at the same time. But that's also a testament to you as a producer and a sound engineer.
That's my job.
Yeah.
That's my job to make it very cohesive in the flow. And in addition to having multiple producers, musicians, including myself,
Mm-hmm.
so a few writers and arrangers that helped work on this project. Of course, she was involved on all of them, but
Mm-hmm.
also Lawyer Turner, Just Miz, myself, and Brayla helped, to write and arrange with Alex this entire project.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different across the board, but what's interesting is you can easily assume one person did the majority of the production. You can assume it's all the same writing, but the common denominator in all of it is Alex and myself.
Yeah.
So she picked how she wanted to convey things, what she wanted to say, what she wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we created the album. And then she and I sat down and we put things in order because I wanted it to flow.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it was a great project. Now, here's the fun.
It is a great project. Yes.
The fun fact is we've already started on the second album. So
We're getting the second album. Congratulations, Alex.
yes, she's
Congratulations.
excited. And we're actually starting on it not this week, but next week.
That is fantastic. So the beginning of November, you're going to be starting.
We're in the studio. Oh, the production's already done. She's already picked out the tracks.
In the studio. So you're going to be starting in the studio.
Yep. Next week.
That's freaking awesome. I really cannot wait to hear this next project come out from her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is going to be real good. Okay. We're going to pivot. pivot because I want to get back to you. You are a composer.
I put a few things together.
10 Toes Down, Chase Street, uh, the music video, Giving Pressure for Jade Massentoff. How did you get into composing for film and visual media?
Hmm. That part came from actually an introduction from you to somebody that I had known who didn't know all that I did,
Mm-hmm.
Robinson. So he asked me, he said, one, I didn't know you produced. He just thought I played the trombone. But, people put you in the box of where they meet you at. And it's no fault or slight to anybody. I don't mean
Right.
negative sense. It's just the human condition. If I see you doing a thing in my head, that's the thing that you do until I see you do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, oh, you can do that. And then, we start to put limitations on people based on the limitations of our own selves. If we only do X, Y, and Z, then in my head, you're only capable of X, Y, and Z. Anything outside of that, I can't fathom you doing it because I don't do it.
Yeah.
That's just the way we're wired until you show them otherwise. But we met, talked. He asked me if I had ever thought about doing that. I said I always thought about doing it. I just never did. He had some producers come over for Older Man, Younger Woman. They didn't tell me the script. They just pulled up a scene and said, "What would you put to that?" And I started playing while the scene was happening. On the
Mm-hmm.
spot, they hired me to be their composer for that film, which segued into two other films. And I had already done some scenes for Chase Street um, and the music suit there. And now I'm part of a collective called Upgrade the Meaning. So we create music uh, to where it goes out for sync opportunities, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we also have a website and a platform to where publishing houses and production houses can go and they hear what fits certain scenes, and then they can just shop right there on the spot, and all the paperwork, stems, everything is there. And I just help cultivate the other producers and artists that's there to create for film, which also requires them to think outside of their own comfort zone. If you only do R&B, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to branch out and do more than just R&B,
Yeah.
right? Or you need to do more than just rock, or you need to do more than just if you're trying to get placements in TV and film.
Okay. So how do artists um do they just like use their current music, or is it something that they need to create something
They,
for to get a
they
placement in
can.
a film?
They can
Okay.
use their current stuff, or you can create based on the scene, depending
Right.
on how much time you have. Sometimes those windows are very small, but
Mm-hmm.
to create something the way it's used in that, it has to feel like that,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the things that I share with my artists. So you have to be relatable to most, undeniable to all with what you create. Regardless if somebody plays that type of genre or that style, they need to respect what you put into it. I don't normally listen to that, but I really like that song. We've heard this all the time from people because they respect what that person did, even though that's not normally their genre.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are some, I don't play a lot of rock, but there are some songs that I really, really like. I don't do a lot of alternative, but there are some songs that I really, really like. You know, there's certain artists that just speak to us, not the genre. If the genre spoke to us, and regardless of what was made in that genre, we would just play it. It's the artists themselves that speak to us. The same way when I tell artists I need to believe you, your conviction will either make or break a scene in a film. How
Yes.
how many times have we seen films to where we didn't believe the music or it seemed awkward? It's like you call your homeboy, your homegirl, and you just put a song in there because you owe somebody a favor.
Yeah, we see that on Tubi a lot.
Versus that song actually fit that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see that scene and not hear that song. I can't hear that song and not envision what I saw when I was watching that one film or that one show.
Right.
Right. So if it speaks to you and it speaks to the people watching it, then that entices them to, I want to watch more of this.
So, is there any like dream movie or TV projects that you'd like to um, work on, you'd like to score for, or any directors that you'd like to collaborate with?
At the moment, it's not. I just
Okay.
I'm a I'm an ongoing fan of honing my craft. So I just want to make sure that I am the best at what I can do,
Mm-hmm.
and also to be able to adapt with the artists that I work with to go to the places that they want to go as far as a creative space.
Yeah.
Like wherever they, whatever fantastic idea they have, I want to be able to say, cool, let's find that together. And then
Okay.
when we create that sound. As far
Yeah.
as a specific director or production house, not really. I know what I like, um, but I got to be mindful that I don't put the limitations on myself based on what I have access to. It just is
Yeah.
it's going to vary. If they
Yeah.
have the budget, I would love to bring in an orchestra and to be able to compose
Oh man.
and
Like Interstellar and the orchestra. Oh,
yes,
the scoring for Interstellar was amazing. Of
I,
course, Star Wars is the most famous one, right?
John Williams and Hans Zimmer are two of my favorite composers.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Pemberton, who did King Arthur, the Guy Ritchie version.
Yes.
Um, I love his work as well.
And you know who else I really love for scoring?
Who?
Quincy Jones.
Come on,
Rest in peace, Quincy.
listen.
But
How do you get
Austin
past
Powers
the Wiz?
and The Wiz, for sure. I mean, just like look at the length of time in between those two films, and he is still on point for everything.
Hmm.
Just
Absolutely.
I I I definitely see you in that group. Just because I know you, like personally know you, and I've seen you creating right in front of me. And I've seen how your brain works with your artists. And I've been in uh a couple of your sessions with your artists, and I've heard your music unedited and edited. And like I said, I'm an audiophile. I love the way that you put together the emotional aspect of the writing from the artist's voice, and then your music composition behind it. I have to bow down to you, sir. You are amazing.
Thank you. I
Seriously.
I am the sum of the people that I work with.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to talk about artists and working with them. How do you decide who to work with?
Hmm. That's a good question. Uh,
Mhm.
Now it's more of who has a plan for themselves, and I mean
Okay.
a legitimate plan. Where do you see yourself going? What's the realistic goals in getting there?
Mhm.
And once the plan is set, then we start to talk about how I can help you accomplish those goals or my network, because it's not all just me.
Right.
I may be the face of it, but there are a lot of people that I collab with in regards to being able to help people realize their dreams.
Mhm.
So once the plan is set and it's realistic as far as the goals go, then we start to work at it. But I let them know this is going to be a process. This doesn't happen overnight. This doesn't happen next month. But if you put in the work, you can get to where you need to be. I am an ongoing um, example of this. So it's not that I've done enough and I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm complacent. I'm still learning. I still take the time out to figure things out.
Mhm.
Take the time out to learn how artists want to approach things or how to change what I sound like, just to be able to adapt with what's out. Because I need to be able to go where the artists want to go, and
Yeah.
for them to be relevant, they need to be able to say, one, I know what my sound is, but how do I set my style and myself apart from the other artists that are out? Like, how
Mm-hmm.
do I stand out? Do you want to sound like somebody else? Because if that's the case, you're only going to go so far. Because when the fad for that artist goes away, then that means the fad for you goes away. If you emulated somebody else, versus if you cultivated and grew your fan base organically and you gave them something different while still growing in your artistry. Because it's okay for you to change and adapt, but you have to be original first.
Mm-hmm.
So I need a plan first. I need conviction in your craft. Because I will tell an artist, if I find myself working harder on your project than you, I will stop.
Absolutely.
Because times are one of those things you can't get back.
Mm-hmm.
Money I can get back. I can't get my time back.
Yeah.
And if I invest in you, I want you to go all out, not for me, but for yourself.
For yourself. Because I see a lot of artists who don't have teams, and they haven't thought about even building a team. And both you and I know a team is going to be very important to their success. And you
Absolutely.
can build a team without funding at first, and then that's what contracts are for, right? So you can build in contractual money obligations into your contracts, and you can get started with nothing.
Mhm.
Building a team,
Right.
this is completely separate from production. And of course, as an entertainment publicist, I would be one of those members that can be like, hey, I'll take payment later, but in order for you to be successful, let's go ahead and work on your social media. Let's go ahead and work on your branding. Let's make sure that you're consistent across everything,
Mhm.
your website, all of it. So you are part of that team that helps cultivate that artist branding as well, because that's something that you do that I haven't seen a lot of other producers do. There are a few that I know of that do the same thing, but they leave that mostly to A&Rs and publicists. So how do you support the artists building their brand while they are still building themselves?
I'm always mindful to share with them the importance of their perception,
Mm-hmm.
not perception to themselves, but the perception of how they portray themselves to other people.
Mm-hmm.
You want people to call you and to book you for events or whatever the case may be, a live show, then you have to portray yourself as someone that people want to see, someone that people want to talk to and interact with.
Mm-hmm.
If you become so rigid and steadfast into, I know what everybody likes and I'm gonna just do me, then there comes an inherent arrogance with that people don't want to deal with. And then you get to a point where you don't go any higher and you plateau. And then you start looking around like, what am I doing wrong? Versus, I'm not
You're
going to
so
say
nice.
placating other people, but at the same
Mhm.
time, having the conviction to say, this is who I am. And I want to do this, but I'm being mindful of how that's perceived by others.
Mhm.
And if I want to get to a certain point, I got to be able to make myself approachable. I have to make myself a commodity in the sense that people want to interact with me and they
Yes.
want to deal with me. Uh,
Yeah.
I have to create content that people feel like they have to have. I tell
Mhm.
them all the time, it's like you have to make people choose between supporting you or buying food.
Yes.
Like it's that serious.
Yes.
And you want people to spend money on you to where you can make a living being an artist. You have to give them that choice, but also means you have to give them that type of content. Now,
Mhm.
to go more to your question, like the plan again, it goes back to the plan. I want to be here in this amount of time. Cool. You're going to need to create this content. You're going to need to have this type of social media presence. You're going to need this person for PR. You're going to need this person for marketing. You
Mhm.
have to have videos that coincide with that. So, however much you have budgeted wise for studio, you need the same thing, if not more, for the presence on social media.
Mhm.
You need to be able to utilize the tools of what technology has given us at this point, because there was a time that we didn't have this stuff, and it was radio, word of mouth. Now you can put something online, and if it's good, it can go viral. But then something does go viral, how do you make the most out of it? What do you have in the chamber that's next? You
Right.
don't have anything coming. You didn't plan for that.
Right.
So those conversations is how I prepare artists for what's next.
Mhm.
Me giving that insight and saying, it's not what I want, but what you need to understand and what you need to prepare for yourself, that helps get them in a position to where I can be successful going this way, and I know how to navigate it. And as things arise that we haven't dealt with before, then we ask someone that has, and we learn from it, and then we just grow from there. Because the artists that I work with, where their careers are going up, we're learning along the way.
Mhm.
Everybody behind you has some type of footprint and path to walk to get to that point, because they're seeing it in real time. So I'm just sharing
Okay.
my experiences
Yeah.
along with others.
Well, I think your experience is very important to them building a plan to put themselves out. So, in your experience, um, I want to ask you about your legacy,
Hmm.
because you have been involved in so many different projects with so many different entertainers, artists, and musicians. If you could be remembered for something, what would that be? What would your legacy be in
Right,
music?
right now,
Mm-hmm.
hmm, I would say it's getting things done. The stigma is, if you go to Antone, he's going to finish it.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. It's
He's
not a stigma. That's the truth.
it's going to get done,
It's going to get done. Yes, absolutely.
and we'll see it through. And it's not that I feel like anybody has to come to me for everything.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem referring artists to other producers, engineers, um, because again, I don't want to cheat anybody else from what makes me me.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of people. I encourage people to work with others. I'm not saying don't come back, but at the same time, if you feel it's best you go somewhere else to grow your sound, then by all means do it.
Mm-hmm.
But my legacy is, so far, it's that of helping people find their sound.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that at the moment, I can play you 3 different albums from 3 different artists that I work with, and none of them sound the same, but they all came through this studio.
You have a knack for individuality. You really do. And each person that you work with, especially that I've heard, they definitely have their own sound. And even their music that you're producing does not sound the same. It's really a talent that you have. And you hear some people who have uh they have a beat that anytime you hear that track, you're like, oh, I know who that is. I know who produced that. You're not like that. Your music kind of blends into who the artist is, because you individualize every production that you create, and it's a talent. It is extremely um, welcome for those of us who love music, because I can listen to different songs from different artists and get a different feeling from each one. And me, as someone who also shower sings, and and just loves to be immersed in music all the time, especially with Ryan, he's the same way. He listens to music constantly, and we have your songs and the artists that you work with in rotation all the time, because we do recognize the value of your production and your engineering and how you build up these artists, and we appreciate you. And I can definitely say your legacy is very, very valued, and I appreciate you so much. So I have a couple more questions for
Okay.
you. What do you have coming up by the end of this year? Are you playing any
I have a Christmas show coming up at the end of this year.
okay, Christmas show? Where at? In DeSoto, right?
It's in DeSoto. It's going to be
Mhm.
December 27th at the DeSoto Civic Center. It's going to be
Okay.
featuring Alex Blair, Just Miz, and Brayla.
Awesome. And I'm
Live,
going to be
live
there.
performances for all three.
Yeah, I'm going to be there because I need to be there.
Absolutely. So it's we're gonna have a great time at the end of this year. As far as what's coming the top of next year,
Hmm.
I have a single and an upcoming project coming out from LePage. We are about to start. We've started production. We're also about to start recording for Just Miz's next album.
Oh, I
Told you
know.
about Alex Blair's project.
Uh-huh.
Um, we will be getting into the studio because we're going to do a live studio album for Blanche J.
Oh,
Also, let me check my board.
wow.
uh,
Y'all don't know. He has this chalkboard in his studio, and it's got names of everybody
board. That's the
on it.
board. Okay, his names and
That's
stuff on that board.
yeah.
So let's see.
I
Braylon
walked in there one time and I saw the foreign exchange on there, and I was like, "What?" And then I saw Kanye Dawson. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Kanye's album just came out. It's actually doing very good.
Oh, I love her so much. Man, I've been listening to Kanye Dawson since 2010, 2010. Yes.
That's around the same time I started playing her as well.
Mm-hmm.
She's a machine.
Oh, man.
She cranks
Her
out.
and Layla Hathaway.
Absolutely.
Just, and Eric, man, he has come out with a lot of new stuff lately too.
He just dropped the album. He's working on the second album, or the part 2 of the album he just dropped for next year.
Oh, okay.
I know,
Stuff
right?
that you have coming up.
Well, I named a few. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's a
Y'all
lot.
just pay attention to Antone's.
I'm gonna try to do better. Well, for the most part, I'll do better.
No, you don't.
I'll do better. I'll
On
do better about letting people know what's coming. I let them know when it comes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do better about letting them know. At the same time, I don't want to steal the thunder of the artists as they drop things.
Right.
But I've been collaborating with an artist from New Zealand named Ryan Levette, who has been #1 on Billboard several times. And he has asked me to use a couple of my artists and we record to production. So, we're writing and doing vocal arrangements, and he's starting to trust I know the right people for the song. So
Yeah.
a couple of songs with him. The first one, which the single came out, the song was called Chalice, with him featuring an artist named Jordan Curls. And then there's another song that's about to drop from him featuring LePage.
Love Jordan. Love LePage. For sure.
Her album is, I'm really looking forward to that album for her. In the sense of a lot of these projects with these artists, it's very healing because it allows them to convey things that they've experienced and are currently going through in their life. And they find ways to creatively put it out because we all go through things and we live vicariously through people's art.
Yeah.
And she's going to help a lot of people, with this project, for a lot of people who don't feel heard, for a lot of people who feel like they're the only ones going through something. She's going to let them know that they are not, while at the same time empowering herself to deal with everyday life.
Yeah.
And it's just a great project, and it feels great. It's an honest project, and it gives you everything. It gives you I can do this, and sometimes I just don't have the strength to deal with that, and sometimes some people aren't shit, and there are people out there that care about me, so it gives you all of those things.
Yeah. Two very amazing artists. I love Chalice. I love Museum as well.
Great single.
Great single. Very touching stories behind both of them. I was shocked when I heard the songs, and I was like, wait a minute. Is she talking about what I think she's talking about? I'm going to let you all listen to the music with Jordan Curls. I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but when you hear the song, if you think constructively about music and you hear the song, you will understand what the story is about. And it was heartbreaking. I loved the songs, but when I heard what they were about, I was like, oh no. Yeah. So just yeah, I can't wait for these projects to come out. I'm really excited about all of them. Okay, last two questions. Who is the one artist that you would play with if they approached you without question? Instrument wise.
Alive now?
Mm-hmm. Like if they said, hey, Antone, I've heard your production. I've heard your music. I know the artists that you work with, and I'm interested in you being a part of my album. Who would that be? Without question.
That's a good question. I would say I'm leaning towards Phil Boudreau from AOE.
Mm-hmm.
He's also done a project recently with Amber Navran called Cat Pack.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of his artistry. And the fact that he is a multifaceted artist who plays multiple instruments and produces himself.
Just like you. Uh-huh.
I'm gonna tell you why that's hard for me, because it's 6 degrees of separation from a lot of people that I want to work with.
Mm-hmm.
But what's crazy is the majority of them that I've ever said I've wanted to work with, I've had the opportunity to work with them. So at the moment, that's hard. But I'm a fan of Phil Boudreau. Oh, who I'm growing into a super fan of is Willow Smith.
You know? Yes.
So I would be very interested in working with her.
I really like Willow's growth as an artist and an entertainer.
I love her music.
Her music is really good. Yes.
It's honest, and I believe her.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that she doesn't conform to technical norms.
Right.
At the same time, she does have the conviction of she did get a vocal coach. She understands the importance of parts and approach and musicality, and she appreciates all of them. And she takes her time until the project is right, and then she puts it forth. And then she also puts the visual presence with it to coincide with the message that's being said. I appreciate that about her. She is the total package.
Yeah, she's had some very viral songs on social media as well, and they've been remixed, and still people use her sounds and her music today. I big ups to Willow. She's an amazing artist.
I think my favorite song from her at the moment is Alone. I love the song, and then I saw the video, and I loved it that much more.
The video is better, in my opinion. I love her song, but man, the video really brings out her story.
It sells it.
So yes, it does.
And then,
Okay.
and it's not fair for me because I get to work with artists that, that I work with.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, how easy is it for you to critique and listen to other artists when you work with so many amazing people?
I would, total transparency, I judge. I know they say you're supposed to listen
Yeah.
and not judge.
Yeah.
I subconsciously judge.
Yes, we all do.
But when I see someone that recorded their first song with me
Mm-hmm.
and see their growth, or seeing where we started versus where we are now and the things that we've learned from each other, and hearing their growth, I know what the artists that I work with are capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And I just work at helping to grow and cultivate a platform for everybody to hear it.
Yeah.
So that in itself is, a goal for me, legacy wise, to be able to say I was able to help cultivate the platform for the world to hear that person.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I gave that person a sound or X, Y, and Z, even though a few of these artists argue me down, but I just pull out what's in you. And I just create that space for everybody to hear it.
Yeah. Well, eventually they appreciate that. I know I certainly do when I hear your music.
Thank you.
So thank you. Last question. I know I said two,
I
but
know.
this is the third one. All right. What's your favorite whiskey and cigar combo?
Ooh, girl.
I know. I had to go there.
Ah,
I had to go there. Now, you all might not know, but Antone is a whiskey connoisseur. Okay. We talk about Blanton's on the regular, and Uncle Nearest, and a few others. But yeah, because you got me onto rye whiskey as well.
Angel's Envy Rye.
It's very expensive if you get it at a restaurant, but we're not going to talk about that. But yes, I need your favorite whiskey and cigar combo, please, sir. See how quiet he got, y'all?
Basil Hayes red cast finish.
Uh-huh.
With a LaFleur Dominican long story cigar.
Dominican cigars.
Yes.
Superior.
Yeah.
I'll accept that. Okay. And we're going to have to try that the next time we come over.
I got both here right now.
Hey. We might have to make a trip over to your house shortly.
I got a studio session in 20 minutes.
Oh, nice. Okay. Never mind then. We'll schedule something.
Oh, no. Let's do it soon. I'm thinking like Thursday, Friday. No, can't do it Friday. Thursday?
Can't do it Thursday. Ryan's got a ceremony.
That's right.
On Thursday with Alpha.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
Saturday?
Saturday's good.
I like Saturday.
Oh. So I'll be over Saturday. I don't know if Ryan will be over Saturday. I think this is their last weekend for intake.
Keep me posted.
Okay. I will for sure.
All right.
Well, thank you for your time. Thank you so much for this interview. You are amazing. And you know what? While I'm furloughed from work, I'm using my platform to highlight the people that I love and respect. And I really do love and respect you and Val. Y'all, you too, both of y'all are amazing. You both are talented. I am appreciative of you and being in your life and you giving your gift to so many people. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in from A to Zoe with your host, Zoe Robinson.